Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Songwriting Masterclass. Not going to be a long one today because I am at the studio and we are making a record today for Lauren, and her voice is absolutely tremendous. And so I'm making a record. We're over at the studio. It's beautiful to be over here. But a Monday is when I come on and I talk about songwriting. So I've written 10 songs. My name's Adam Holmes. I've written 10 albums, sorry. My name's Adam Holmes. I'm a songwriter from Edinburgh in Scotland. I've been making albums for the last 15 years and I've won awards for my albums. I've traveled all over the world. I've built 800,000 followers. I've got two very successful businesses. One as a performer, one as a coach, and another one helping people make albums. So if you're ever looking to make an album, I'm your man. Reach out, let's talk. And on a Monday, what I do is I take a little bit of time to talk about some songwriting techniques that you can take away and implement this week and write better songs. I want to get into things by saying the way that most people approach songwriting is flawed in the sense that people tend to talk a lot about chord structure, bridges, every single thing that isn't the idea. And what I want to offer you today is the perspective that actually you're already an expert songwriter because you're a human being who's full of interest and ideas. And actually, when you write songs, it is your responsibility to uncover, in some ways, the worst parts of yourself in order to create interesting songs. Now, what makes an interesting song is the thing that you would rather often not say. To give an example from my own life, if I wrote a song about divorce and the song was, listen, we tried our best and I hope, wish you all the best. And, let's be reasonable about this. That's never going to make an interesting song. What makes an interesting song is the darkest, deepest parts of yourself that you generally try and hide. Now, why do you try and hide the darkest parts of yourself? There's a simple reason. You were taught in school and by your parents and by society that you should not have those dark parts, that you should be reasonable, that you should be rational, that you should try to fit into the system. But what I want to offer you is thinking is where we begin. Your idea is where we begin. An idea is a song is an idea. It's communicated through words, melody, rhythm, and chord sequences. And when we talk about songwriting and teaching songwriting, we usually put the cart before the horse in the sense that the words, melody, rhythm, and chord sequences are they're only the building materials. The architectural plan for your song is the idea. If you've never written a song before, I'd wager the reason why is because you never thought that you could. It's because you thought the building materials were the most important part. But what if the architectural design is the most important part? Spoiler alert, it is. As I said before, as a songwriter, you have a unique opportunity to say things your way. Nobody else in the world has the same life experience as you. So fundamentally, it's your ideas that make your songs interesting. If you want to know how to connect to those ideas, what you're going to have to understand is a concept called your ICB. Your ICB is your inner creative being. And your inner creative being is the part of you that is unburdened by the thoughts of what other people might think, what other people might want you to do. To give an example, when I was a wee boy, about 3 or 4, I can remember looking in the mirror and just thinking, I wonder what I'm going to be when I grow up. I wonder what I'm going to look like. I wonder what I'm going to talk like. I wonder what my life is going to be like. And that sense of discovery, that sense of what's possible, that sense of future focus is your inner creative being. That's the unburdened part of you. That is what you want to work with when you're writing songs. What's the system? Well, the system is a word we can use to describe the social conditioning that we all face daily. It's a way for me to point at an energetic presence in the world. I'm not making a political statement when I say the system. Language is the beginnings of the system. When my daughter first pointed at a tree and went, tree, and separated herself from the soup of existence, the soup of just living in the world. You notice how little babies are just like, they're just in this ocean of existence. And then they're given words and they use words to separate themselves, separate their experience from themselves. Forgive me, I was just making sure we're still rolling. Looks like we are. So, if you want to write interesting songs, you need to be connected to that unreasonable, dark, unfair part of yourself, right? The idea that you have is always the most important step in any creative expression. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be teaching you about the 6 steps of songwriting. And you're going to be able to write a song, having never written a song, in 6 weeks. It's actually easier than you think. You've actually got most of what you need already. Songwriting's not about being perfect. It's about telling your truth, not the truth, not the part that you want other people to see about you, your truth, the truth that comes from connection to your ICB. We don't live in a system that has anything to gain from everybody being connected to that part of themselves. The system we live in benefits from the opposite, broadly speaking. It's a system where we're rewarded for severing ourselves from our ICBs. The ambient attitude in our system is work hard and you don't get what you want and just deal with it. And who are you to want more, right? But your ICB requires something different. It requires for you to disconnect from the system. A bird just fully whacked into the window there. Hope it's all right. For a moment before we go further, let's just explore, broadly speaking, what's considered normal in a Western society, because it's interesting. Trading your time in exchange for money. And by the way, most of the people who do this say money isn't important and then trade all of their time for money. Number 2, spending your time advancing the goals and dreams of others. Relying on mainstream media for information about local and global events. Trusting official government bodies to spend your money better than you. That's called tax. Getting married and having children in spite of your natural tendencies, regardless of what they are. Borrowing a vast amount of money from the bank and paying it back over 30 years. That's called a mortgage. Delegating the education of your children to other people. Regular watching of negative stories collected by regulated companies. That's called news. Eating processed foods created by companies invested in maximizing sales. Many of the biggest companies have scientific trials where they test the addictive components in a bid to sell more food. Taking financial advice from the banking system, i.e. companies that take your money, invest it for significant return, and offer you in return an amount of interest that doesn't beat inflation rates. So, what would it look like for you to take a step back from the system? Do you remember when you were a kid how curious you felt about everything before you formed ideas about how things were? As children, we're always asking questions. My daughter, she's 7, she's always asking questions. Now, I want to give you a few tools today that are going to help you to disconnect from the system. And the system is a dark and sinister force that works at the expense of many poor, damp souls and benefits a small number of selfish souls. In acting classes, they'll teach you that a way to develop a scene is to think about what the character wants. Every action in the scene will then be fueled by the desire of that character. The human's primary desire in our modern age is to find meaning and security. People pleasing, status, and success are all driven by the search for meaning and security. So don't give yourself a hard time that you're trying to fit into the system, because you probably just want to be loved and feel like you have access to resources. But don't worry, the system isn't going anywhere. Just try this for a week and see how it feels. If you want to reconnect your ICB, going back to my original statement, ICB is your inner creative being. That's the part of you that you want to create songs from. If you want to get back to that part of yourself, what I recommend is you begin to unburden your ICB. How are you going to do that? Well, in the next 7 days, I'm going to give you a list of things that you can try. And when you try them, you can check back in and let me know if they helped. Number one, disengage completely from the media. Stop watching the news. If an alien came down and asked you what the news was, you would tell them it is a collection of stories gathered by a regulated company who want you to feel negative emotion. Now, why would you want to put that in your body every single day? Stop it. Don't do that. Because how are you going to access what you truly feel about things if you're being told how to feel about things? Number two, experience elegant surroundings. It could be in a city, it could be a gallery, or I'm in nature right now and it's beautiful, it's elegant in a different way. But experience elegant surroundings every day and make time for it specifically. Number three, eat an evening meal by yourself. Have a meal by yourself. Make a sense of occasion by yourself, because all creativity is a sense of occasion with yourself. Number four, dress up. Clothes have a few functions: to stay warm. To the second purpose is moral. We want to hide certain parts of our body. And the third is social. Often when we think about clothing, we see it from a space of how we relate to others. So for the next 7 days, rather than using clothes as a means to present yourself, you'll dress to present yourself to yourself. So dress in something that helps you feel like a sense of play, a sense of trying stuff. Everyone's style is different, but a good rule of thumb for the next week would be if you don't wear it to a wedding, it's not dressy enough. Think about it. No matter how scruffy someone is, it would be very rare for them to make literally no effort for a friend or a family's wedding or funeral. Pretty much everyone I know would make some kind of effort for that. So for the next 7 days, that's how you're going to create this sense of occasion. Here's some questions if you want to know how to find the clothes that make you feel confident. Number one, when was the last time you put on an outfit and felt really confident? Two, do you have any clothes that you feel confident in? Three, what colors feel good for you? Do you like tight fitting or loose fitting clothes? Was there an item of clothing you longed for in your adolescence? If you didn't care what anybody thought, what would you love to wear? Answer these questions honestly, and you'll form a picture of your outfits for the week. Number five, these are all tips, by the way, if you're just joining us, that are going to develop your sense of creativity and help you to create songs, create the ideas for songs. The next tip I'm going to give you is going to be how you create those ideas. But these steps are important. Number five, read classic literature for 30 minutes a day. It could be an old book, it could be old songs, but put yourself in the old world of classic ideas and allow them to wash over you. Think Robert Burns. Of course, there were terrible problems with poverty, sickness, and social problems in Robert Burns' day, but the work contains so much nature and humanity. That's the ripe soil you need for noticing. That's the place where your truth will come up to the surface. So find your truth as it relates to nature, as it relates to humanity. Okay, the final tip on how to generate a lot of song ideas in a short space of time: write letters you would never send. Write some letters you would never ever send to anyone. And these are going to help you to connect to that part of you that feels like you don't have a right to say things to people. Now, writing is writing. Sitting down and writing is writing. When you sit down, there's a million things you're going to want to do other than write. Check your phone, delete old files on your laptop, clean the house, eat food, anything. You're not going to want to do it. But sit down, take 45 minutes and write. Some examples of people you might want to write your letter to: mother, father, partner, ex-partner, sibling, colleague, old friend, new friend, a crush. We are storytelling creatures as humans. We create plots around the relationships we have. We build stories. Songs are simply the stories we build around the relationships we have. How we treat people is based on the story we have built around that person in question. Write and practice guidelines, no phones or devices in the room. Set up all that you need to be really present. Make sure you feel comfortable in your clothes and are at a pleasant temperature. These things sound benign. They're not, because if you remove all distraction, you're going to have the best chance at actually sitting down and creating something. When you've decided who you want to speak to, here are some questions you can ask yourself to help get the writing process going. What things do I love about this person that I've never expressed? What things do I hate about this person that I've never expressed? If I had 1 year to live, what would I want them to know? What did I want and never get from this person? What do I want a chance to say to them? What advice do I want to give them? What do I need them to know? What is a truth they've never known about me? What would I like them to understand about me? Lastly, your most important question as a writer is, what else? What else? What else? How will you know when you're done? When you're done writing your letters, you're going to feel a sense of clarity and peace. And that's one of the biggest gifts which songwriting has ever given me, is quite simply the gift of clarity, the gift of peace, the gift of learning how to express oneself. If you want to learn more stuff like this, there's a ton of it inside of my club. The ideas today come from my book, which is called The 6 Steps of Songwriting. There's a whole video course on it inside of my club. There is a downloadable PDF of the book inside of the club, and there's documentaries, there's movies, there's loads more resources inside of the club. So if you got any value out of today's episode, you're going to love the club. It's only $2. You'll be pleased to join. If you want to join, comment club, and I will speak to you soon.